Okay, so here we have these limits of rational things. Okay, so notice that there's two things I want you to notice. Okay, number one is either there's a limit to infinity or there's a limit to a number. Okay, so if there's ever a limit to infinity, what we're looking for is your horizontal asymptotes. Okay, so limits to infinity. So we're looking at whether it's bottom heavy, top heavy, or neutral. Okay, so this one happens to be neutral, right? There's a 2x on top and an x on bottom. So you look at the coefficients, and the answer is 2. Okay, which means we have a horizontal asymptote at y equals 2 as the graphical implication of this. The limit is always going to be a number. Okay, will always be a number. So here, once again, we have a limit to infinity. We're looking for a horizontal asymptote. So we look at the highest power is x squared and x squared. So once again, this is a neutral one. So negative 1/3 is going to be the answer. Okay, that's the limit, which means graphically speaking, this is a horizontal asymptote at y equals negative 1/3. And our last one here with infinity, okay, this one looks like it's bottom heavy. Okay, there's an x to the 5th and a 2x on top, so that means it's a 0. Okay, anytime we have a bottom heavy one, it's automatically a y or a horizontal asymptote at y equals 0. Okay, so if limits go to infinity, we're looking at horizontal asymptotes. Bottom heavy, top heavy, or neutral. Okay, if it's top heavy, then you're going to have a slant asymptote, and there's no horizontal one. But these bottom ones here, you have limits to a number. Okay, so limits to a number we talk about a little bit differently. What you want to do is you want to plug in the number. Okay, plug in the number. So 2 times 3 minus 6 over 3 squared plus 9 is 0 over 18. 0 over 18 is just 0. So this limit, as x approaches 3, is going to be 0. Okay, so what that means is that we have a point at 3, 0 on your graph. Okay, 3, 0 is a point on your graph, which is perfectly fine. Okay, now when we plug in 3 into this one, okay, let's see what happens here. We have 2 times 3 minus 6 over 3 squared minus 9, which is 0 over 0. Okay, so 0 over 0 is going to tell you that there's going to be a hole. So there's some more work that we have to do here. Okay, so what we have to do is factor. So 2x minus 3's, and on top x plus 3 and x minus 3. So the x minus 3's cancel out. So now that we have this as our resulting rational, we plug in 3 again. Okay, we plug in 3 now, and 2 over 3 plus 3 is 2 over 6, which reduces to 1/3. So the answer is still a number. The number is 1/3. So what that means graphically is that we have a hole at the point 3, 1/3. Once again, the answer to a limit is a number. Okay, and our last one, when we plug in a 3 on top and 3 down here, so we get 3 minus 3 is 0, and then square root of 9 is 3. 3 minus 3 is 0. We get 0 over 0 again. Okay, so we're going to have to figure out where this hole is also. Okay, if it's 0 over a number, by the way, or a number over 0, if it's a number over 0, then it does not exist. Okay, if you plug it in here and we get a number over 0, sorry, I'm kind of scatterbrained. So a number over 0, that means the limit does not exist and you have a vertical asymptote. Okay, so far none of these have had that though. All right, so let's see what we can do to this bottom one. Okay, now this is some ridiculous math, but we're going to do it just to be thorough. So x minus 3 over root x plus 6 minus 3. So we're going to multiply by the conjugate, which is root of x plus 6 plus 3. Okay, root x plus 6 plus 3. And what happens is the radicals cancel out. So on top, we're going to have this ridiculous thing. But on bottom, we're going to get no more roots. We're just going to get an x plus 6. And then you're going to get a minus 9 when you do the plus 3 times the minus 3. Okay, so on bottom, we're going to get an x minus 3 now. And on top, you get something ridiculous. What do you get on top? We get an x times the square root of this thing. And we get a minus 3 x's of those. And you get a minus 9. Okay, so you get a whole bunch of weird and random stuff that doesn't look, oh, well, look, wait a second. So this x minus 3 cancels out with this x minus 3. Ah, that's what happens. We don't distribute. Don't distribute in there. And then we get this, and 3 goes into here, and your answer is 6. Okay, so that was a little bit crazy, confusing. Okay, so what happens is I don't want to distribute, right? This was an x minus 3 here. And when I simplified the bottom, I also got an x minus 3. Okay, so what I should have done is waited, okay, and got x minus 3, and then this root x plus 6 plus 3. Because on the bottom, I still have an x minus 3. Okay, so then these ones cancel out, and I'm just left with this. So then you plug in a 3, and you get square root of 9 plus 3. Anyway, we have a whole at 3 comma 6. Hopefully there's not one of those. Those ones are fairly confusing. If that comes up and you don't want to do all the work, I would just guess. Truth.